Hello guys, how are you getting on? My name is Aaron Kelly and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now today, the Europa League is upon us. This Wednesday, the 29th of May, the Europa League final between Arsenal and Chelsea will take place in Baku in Azerbaijan. And boys and girls, this is as excited as I've been for a Europa League final for a while. I mean, since the last time Chelsea were in it, to be perfectly honest. Who gets excited about the Europa League when their team isn't actually playing in it? Anyway, today in this video we're going to be discussing, or previewing I suppose, the game between Arsenal and Chelsea, and in the end I will give my final prediction on who I think is going to take the win on this one. I'll consider all the different factors that go with it, but yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So both Unai Emery and Maurizio Sarri have managed to get their teams to European finals in their very first season. And you know, I've criticised Maurizio Sarri on numerous occasions throughout the season, as you all know. But I mean, finishing third and getting to the Europa League final at the start of the season, I would have taken that. I would have said, yeah, we're definitely not on the level of Liverpool and Manchester City, and that proved to be the case in the league. But third in our Europa League final is, you know, not to be sniffed at, and I'm sure that if he does lose his job after the Europa League, as much as I hate to say it, I think it'd be very harsh on him. I know they're considering Frank Lampard for the job, but for me, Frank's not ready yet. But we're gonna, you know, maybe save that for another day. But Maurizio Sarri, I mean, well, fair play. I mean, as I've said, criticism has been high, not only from me, but from many Chelsea fans for many reasons, and I think with good reason at a lot of times of the season. But as I said on the podcast the other day with Jack, I don't think it's necessarily Chelsea being incredible and Sarri being an incredible coach that has got us back into the Champions League. It's more so everyone around us being shit, and Arsenal were no different to that. As for Unai Emery, how can we assess his first season? Well, the Europa League is his competition, isn't it? And he's won it so many times in the past with Sevilla, and he was literally dubbed the Europa League man. If you want to win that competition, he is the man you bring in. Similar if you're bringing in Jose Mourinho or Pep Guardiola, you want to win, you know, trophies at your club. He is the man for the Europa League. In the league, however, Arsenal were ultimately lacking in many areas, and they lost games they probably shouldn't have, and there was still a lot of aspects to them that, you know, probably lived on from the Wenger era. You know, poor defensively, but at times Arsenal this season were very, very entertaining going forward. I mean, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexandre Lacazette, although not always starting every game together, still managed to accumulate a lot of goals between them this season. Also, Lucas Torreira has proved to be a decent buy for them. The one bad thing I would say about Arsenal this season is Aaron Ramsey is gone. They've let him go to Juventus on a free transfer, which, you know, Arsenal fans are absolutely livid about, as you would be. But I think overall, in Emery's first season, there hasn't been a huge improvement under the Wenger era, other than they have managed to reach a major European final for the first time in absolutely ages. Let's look into the, I suppose, different aspects of the game itself. And Chelsea are massively hit by injuries at the minute. You look at Antonio Rudiger got injured recently. You know, there was an injury as well to Andreas Christensen, which left him out of Chelsea's 0-0 draw with Leicester on the last day of the season. But it looks like he will be fit to start alongside David Luiz in the centre of Chelsea's back four. Also, obviously, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Callum Hudson-Odoi both out with long-term injuries, both expected to be out for not only this game but for a lot of next season as well. Both have similar enough injuries, actually. Loftus-Cheek's injury came in a friendly, would you believe it, a fucking friendly over in the States. I mean, what was the point of that? I know it's not Sarri's decision, it was the board, it was, you know, this brand deal or whatever, or charity, whatever it fucking was, and they had to play their best players or whatever. But absolutely ridiculous that he's got injured in such a shite game, really, but we won't go into that. Also injured, we're hearing, is that N'Golo Kante is also expected to miss the final on Wednesday due to a knee injury he picked up in training. He was only coming back from a hamstring injury, and yeah, he came back and injured himself at training at the weekend, which means he is expected to be out, and the midfield trio is expected to be Jorginho, Kovacic and Ross Barkley, which is, I mean, it doesn't really fill me with any sort of optimism, to be perfectly honest with you boys, but yeah, Chelsea are massively hit by injuries, and that's why I think Arsenal have the upper hand, but again, I'll get into that in a minute. The one thing we do have is Eden Hazard. It may just be his final game in a Chelsea shirt, and more than anything, he will want to bring home the trophy in what will probably be his final game in a blue shirt. And to be honest, it's going to be emotional either way, because he's been our best player for the last number of years. And he will be missed if he is definitely going to Real Madrid, which it looks like he will be next season. So, I mean, we know Hazard, he's well able to switch it on at any moment and, you know, win games nearly by himself. He's scored so many incredible individual goals in the past. I can name 2 already from this season, being his one against Liverpool in the League Cup and that one against West Ham at Stamford Bridge more recently. But yeah, he's going to be out to prove a point and how he can change the game. Let's just hope he puts everything he has left into this game. We're going to look now at Arsenal's threat going forward. Obviously, I've mentioned Lacazette and Aubameyang already. Whether or not Mesut Ozil plays this game remains to be seen, but I'd expect if he's playing his best team, he should start Ozil. But based on this season and the amount of game time Ozil has got, you'd highly doubt he's just going to bring him in for this, you know, last game of the season. Obviously, Arsenal are also missing Henrik Mkhitaryan. He has decided not to travel with the Arsenal squad amid, you know, a feud, I suppose is the best way you could describe it as, between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And obviously, he is the most famous person to ever come out of Armenia, probably. So, you know, for him to go over to somewhere where his, you know, there's a row going on between his country and this country, it would just be too dangerous for him, and it's probably the right call he's made. But Arsenal fans are very, very annoyed as to, you know, how it even got to this point in the first place. Why was the final ever put in Azerbaijan? It's over the far side, you know, it's barely in Europe, as Hugh Izzy said himself. But Arsenal fans very, very annoyed with it. You wonder how that'll affect the Arsenal squad. I don't think it'll have too much of an effect on them. If anything, I think it'll have a positive effect on them. They'll want to win this game for Mkhitaryan, so it could prove to be a bad thing for Chelsea. But yeah, it's incredible. Another scandal that has gone on with this particular final off the pitch has been the tickets that have gone on sale for, I think it's around a 60,000 capacity stadium over in Baku. Both Chelsea and Arsenal have been given 6,000 tickets each, which is incredible. Only 12,000, so like a good chunk of the stadium, majority of the chunk of the stadium will not actually be Chelsea or Arsenal fans, which is incredible. And that's made even worse now by the fact that both Chelsea and Arsenal have had to send tickets back, having been unable to sell them because it's in Azerbaijan in the first place. And you can't really blame fans for not wanting to travel halfway around the world. I mean, the tickets themselves are expensive enough, let alone getting a flight to Azerbaijan. And you're going to do well to get a flight straight to Azerbaijan. You probably won't, if I'm not mistaken. You'll probably have to make a couple of stops along the way. So financially, it would be very tough for fans to go. I think Arsenal have returned over 2,000 of their tickets, and I don't know, I think Chelsea it's even more. So yeah, I mean, that has caused controversy in itself. But we're going to talk now a little bit about the two teams into the season, and if that will have any kind of effect on the game as a whole. And Chelsea, and while being more consistent than Arsenal towards the end of the season, certainly weren't sparkling at all. We got results when we needed to, but there was times where I was like, do we actually want top four? Like, realistically, we're just kind of waiting for the other teams to pounce at this point. It all doesn't matter in the end as we finish the top four, mainly because of Arsenal's lack of consistency. I think they lost. I think they only won one of their last 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they only won 1 of their final 5 games, taking just 4 points from a possible 15, and that home draw against Brighton certainly being one of the picks of the bunch. Obviously a draw or a defeat to Wolves and a defeat at home to Crystal Palace as well. You know, Chelsea are probably in better form than Arsenal going into this game, but as I've said, it's a one-off game. I think, you know, Arsenal would be 100% up for this, and that leads me on to my final predictions for the Europa League final. Who do I think will take the crown? Well, I think it means far more to Arsenal as a club, because Chelsea have already qualified for the Champions League through finishing 3rd in the league, so that's already secure. So Arsenal need to win this, you know, to make their route through to the Champions League next season. So I think that's a pro for Arsenal. As I've mentioned, Chelsea have plenty of injury concerns, so that'll be another pro for Arsenal. They'll be well up for it after the whole Mkhitaryan scandal, I can imagine. Aaron Ramsey is also, you know, has played his last game, but I'm sure they're going to be thinking about him going into this game as well, Arsenal. And obviously Unai Emery is an absolute master in this competition. The only thing I would say for Chelsea is we do have Hazard, and when we do have Hazard and he's at his best, he can destroy any team. He's done it to Arsenal before. Let's hope he can do it again. But for me, I just can't see anything other than an Arsenal win in this final, I'm afraid. I think there's just too many things in their favour, and I think they've been more convincing in the Europa League overall this season as well. So for me, I am going to go for an Arsenal win. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know your predictions, who's going to be the first scorer of the final, and I have to say I am looking forward to it. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like and subscribe if you're new with notifications on, and I will catch you later.
Pull up in the gold, I'm leading. But them other man need feeding. I don't wanna go Bombay. Them I don't know what I do when I go from dealing. Leading the pack in black and I'm on with the bat. Snapping with the phone and die. Boss up a man with the duster. Put him in the drip and sip blockbuster. Win, 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 that's the only ammo. Ring, 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 I reply with NO. Call me Leno, had it hot. Switch up the ting as I hit.